Hey everyone, and welcome to the Pep Talk. Very excited to be sitting here with Amanda. She has not only become a newer friend in my life, she is badass, she's fabulous, she's funny. But one of the key things I wanted to talk to her today was about being a female leader, because she inspires me, and I think she would inspire a lot of females out there. So Amanda, could you just kind of introduce yourself, like who you are, what's your day-to-day like, pancakes?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, that was a really kind intro, so thank you. So my name's Amanda. I'm honored to be on the show, and I own Cole and Canary Candle Company. So we are a boutique candle company here in Winnipeg, and we hand pour all of our products in small batches, and we use really beautiful, high quality ingredients, and we like to have a lot of fun with our branding. So it's really cheeky, kind of playful, and yeah, that's kind of the brand.
Who inspired you to be this person, to know that you could do this?
To be honest, I never thought I could do this, and I worked a 9-to-5 my whole, pretty much from when I graduated until starting Cole and Canary 6 years ago. And I was one of those people where I actually didn't mind working for the man. I thrived. I had a team of people underneath me, and I really enjoyed my job. And I never thought I would be an entrepreneur. And it's interesting, things just kind of happened, and I always say entrepreneurship was the happiest accident of my life. And it's just been such a blessing, and I've surprised myself, I think, at what I'm capable of. And but to be honest, I think where that comes from is my grandma. So my grandmother is the most badass woman.
That's allowed. She's allowed to say that.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, because this is for social media.
Okay, good. I won't say anything worse than that. But she's so fierce. She has no fear in her life. She works harder than anyone I've ever met. She actually was a stay-at-home mom later in her life, but she grew up being a model in Montreal. Wow. She moved to Montreal by herself, didn't know anyone, had these dreams of being a model, and just went after her passion and became pretty successful. And then she met my grandpa, and they moved back home, and long story short, she's still alive, and she's still just as badass as she ever was.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I think growing up, I always had this desire to make sure that I was, pleasing her, or that I was making her proud. And I mean, my parents, obviously, I want to make them proud, but I think at the end of the day, my grandma scared me more than my mom. So I didn't want to do anything that would disappoint her. So that was, I think, another driving force in my life. But she's always been so supportive. She's so proud of me and everything that I've accomplished in my life. And I think I have her to thank for a lot of it.
Oh, that's great. I love the grandma shout outs.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you had touched upon when you started this, and I don't know what everyone knows necessarily, even in Winnipeg, about how this started. If this was like always your passion, if this is something you stumbled upon.
Yeah.
You said it was a wonderful accident, and probably
a wonderful accident.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you want to shed like a little light on kind of how that happened, or
Absolutely.
a little bit of your story? Yeah.
So I grew up, obviously in Winnipeg, and was a huge advocate always of supporting local whenever I could. And went to college, took graphic design, and I worked in the field for, I want to say, 12 years before starting Cole and Canary. And it was great because I worked for a mix of companies. So I worked for large companies and small companies. I did freelance for 3 years in the middle. I really got a lot of experience and working for different types of companies. So, ad agencies and fashion houses, and I did ads for Ford Motors. Like I did everything. But I loved it, and it was my passion, and I still get to do graphic design now with the company, which is special. But
which do a lot of people know that all that fun design is you?
That's me.
That's
yes.
not someone underneath Amanda that's doing it. She does have an amazing team, but all that kind of cheeky, beautiful artwork, that's all you.
It's all me. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love doing it, and I think it's a huge, part of why we're successful, because we can do everything in-house. But I can talk more about that later. But as far as how it all happened, so I was doing graphic design and marketing, and I have a passion just for trying to sell something visually. So my best friend at the time, 6 years ago, he was a full-time nurse, and he got into making candles just as a fun hobby, and he would sell at like farmers markets and had some relative success, but his packaging was not the greatest, and he knew that, and he tried his best, but he obviously wasn't a graphic designer, but he had great taste. And so being best friends, he said, you know what, would you want to team up with me once a week? I can come over and I can teach you how to make candles, and you can be in charge of all the marketing and the branding and graphic design. And basically he was really smart because he couldn't afford to pay someone, so this way we got to kind of share the knowledge, which I was totally down for. And for me, it was a fun passion project, and I had no expectations of what would happen with it. It was purely just a reason to hang out with my best friend and drink lots of wine on a Wednesday. So
does anyone want to make candles with me and drink wine on a Wednesday?
So that's how it started. And
That's
again,
amazing.
It just wasn't meant to become a business, and neither of us thought it would ever become anything. And we invested, I think at the time, we invested $200 each. And that was like a lot of my money. I'm like, oh, this is serious. This is serious money. And we invested the money to buy product, started posting photos on Instagram. And the interesting thing is, I always say, even though we were a small fish and we weren't trying to become this big company, I still took it really seriously. And so I had done market research and tried to see what was being done locally, nationally, and internationally in the candle market, and then what wasn't being done.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of found this like sweet spot and this niche audience of females that weren't being targeted. And so we said, let's go after them. And they're essentially us. So
yeah.
so it was easy.
Right here.
Yeah, right here. So we just started posting on Instagram, and stores started reaching out saying, these candles are so cute. How do we wholesale them? Can you send over your wholesale catalog? And I would call Tom, and I'd be at work on a Tuesday being like, what's a wholesale catalog? Like panicking. And luckily Google's a thing. So I would Google wholesale catalog, and again, like the blessing of being a graphic designer and owning the company is I could just stay up all night and make a wholesale catalog, and it looked like we had one, professionally made. So we'd send it off, and then we started getting orders, and one thing led to another. And then 3 months after starting our company in my kitchen, we actually got asked to do the candles for the Grammy and Oscar gift bags. And they thought we were this massive company, but we were just the two of us in my kitchen.
I want to manage people's expectations. That 3 months might not get you to the same place.
It's okay.
But I was just reading recently, and I feel like you are screaming this message out loud. Like there's some level of preparedness that you can have, but there's also the element of just starting and going.
Absolutely.
And doing.
Just doing.
And I know numerous people out there have been talking to you recently, actually, that you're just so scared to start.
Right.
And it might not look pretty, and it might not be exactly perfect or right, but that starting, who knew 3 months before if you wouldn't have just started?
Exactly. And I think it's about not being afraid to take risks and just follow your dreams and try things. And what's the worst that can happen? I mean, for us, we made a strategic plan, and we made a business goal list, and our 10-year goal was to do the swag bags for the Juno Awards. And we thought that'd be so cool. Oh my gosh. And so one day I was at my full-time job, and I found the company that does the Grammys and Oscars, and I just sent them a random email, not expecting a response, just saying, hey, I'm Amanda. This is our company. This is what we do. Here's our website. And at that point we had, taken really nice photos, and I designed the website. And I remember in school, I'll never forget this, one of my favorite instructors taught me that you can be the smallest fish in the sea and the smallest mom and pop shop, but if you have great and consistent branding, you can look like the largest shark in the sea. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was more of an experiment, to be honest. And I thought, you know what, let's just see what happens. So
good for you.
I just tried it. And so we asked, and we said, what's the process? And then 2 weeks later, they emailed back saying, we think your product is perfect to be the exclusive home decor product in this year's Grammy and Oscars. Are you in? So it was a crazy, crazy moment. It was stressful because it costs money to do those types of things. A lot of people think that we get paid to do it or that it's free, and it's completely not, because it is advertising and it's product placement. So there's really high fees attached to it. Plus you have to donate all the product and pay for the shipping. So we borrowed money from mom and dad. We took extra money from our credit cards. It was really stressful. And when you're only around for 3 months, the banks aren't going to give you any money. So there's a lot of things that happened, but we thought, what's the worst that can happen? Let's just try it. So we did it, and then everything just kind of happened from there. It just exploded.
You've worked for lots of different types of bosses, and you just really envisioned yourself being a certain type of boss.
Of course.
I think that there's a lot of females that work for other females or females themselves that are challenged with this because you feel like you need to be tougher. You feel like you need to rise above all the sexism or whatnot. And yet you seem really true to just who you are, being friendly and kind and wanting to make this a rewarding experience for all your staff. Where does that come from? How do you do it?
Oh my gosh, that's a big question. Well, first of all, thank you. I do take my leadership very seriously, and I think I am lucky in the fact that I was raised by amazing parents who were very much, they believed in gender equality, and in my mind growing up, I never thought I was less than the boys. And in fact, true story, I still have the push-up championship challenge winner, whatever it is, record. At my junior high, grade 9, I beat all the boys and the girls. So it was one of those things where I was like, what? I can do this. It was never a question. And I was really lucky, again, being raised with my mom telling me and my dad telling me, like, you can do whatever you want as long as you work really hard and you're really nice to people. I'm a firm believer in karma, and I really think that if you're, whatever you put out in the universe, you should receive back. And I would never want to ever have bad blood with anyone in the world. I think people should all be treated equally, regardless of gender or anything else. And I think that's just part of my core values. And I think that's what emulates and kind of, made Colin Canary the way it is today. Yeah. So, I mean, whether it comes down to, myself talking to a vendor or a wholesale customer or one of my employees, I treat them with respect, and I expect the same back, but I also treat them with kindness and generosity. And I mean, people are people. We all have our bad days. I have my bad days. And I think you just have to make sure that at the end of the day that you are as true to who you are and as positive as you can be, because what's the point of being negative? There's no point. But it's interesting because I know, like, the whole term, like, girl boss is such a trendy thing. Right. And I think a lot of female bosses refer to themselves as a girl boss, and it's really funny because I really used to tout that phrase, and I was such a cheerleader and a champion for it. But the older I get and the more I'm a boss, the more I think, well, why am I a girl boss? Well, I'm just a boss, because I don't go to my dentist and say she's a girl dentist. I don't go to my doctor and say she's a girl doctor. And I think that there's just this weird like stigma, almost a negative connotation that can sometimes be tied with it. And I think a lot of females have to know their worth and realize that, yes, girl boss is a positive phrase, but at the end of the day, we're just bosses.
Yeah. All right. So in my house, presently, I have crop tops and raindrops lit. Not right now. It's not lit when I'm not at home.
Don't leave your candles unattended.
No, we're gonna say this is actually like a public announcement
PSA.
Right now. So I'm curious just for some fun.
Yeah,
what are your favorites? Like, what is your, if I give you some categories, we'll go quick. Okay?
Oh my gosh, it's like
right.
Speed round. Okay.
All right. If you're having a dinner party at your house, which one would you want?
That hot barista. I love it.
Write these down, guys. All right. If it's a cold day and you're at the cabin, Amanda loves being out at her cabin in the wilderness. Which is the one you're having there?
If it's snowy outside, kind of close to Christmas, I do May Your Days Be Minty and Bright. It's my favorite. It's peppermint, strawberry, vanilla.
Oh my gosh. And what about if it's a summer day at the cabin?
Ooh, I would say I Can See Clearly Now. It smells like Fruit Loops.
Oh,
it's so good. It's like very fruity and summery.
I just saw a box of Fruit Loops in the photo room. That's real.
Instagram room.
Okay, and I was gonna say one for like Christmas time.
Oh,
Hanukkah, which
nice Christmas though, like specific Christmas, I would say All I Want for Christmas. It's our best-selling candle of the whole year. It's amazing. It smells like a fresh fir Christmas tree. So it's beautiful.
Okay, and this one's for all the boys that are watching this, or the girls that want to buy the candle. If you're having a date night at home, because COVID has made a lot of date nights happen at home now, what candle inspires romance?
Oh my gosh. Okay, if you're looking for like one that a guy would really like as well, one that I love is called Wood Stoves and Fine Merlots. And it smells like a wood stove. So if you don't have a fireplace, you can light it, and it smells like you have a fireplace. So it's like nice and romantic.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, that was the inside scoop with Amanda. All right, Amanda, I have a favor to ask.
Okay.
Can we please get a little sneak peek as to how the candles are made?
Yes,
is that allowed?
Absolutely. You can follow me.
Okay.
You can follow me. Okay.